this week it's Parsha Shekalim. So we want to learn something about Shekalim. The Rambam in the beginning of Hilchis Shekalim says, "Mitzvahs asay min haTorah litein kol ish mi Yisrael machzis hashekel b'chol shana v'shana." Yeah, straightforward. Then the Rambam is moisiv, afilu oni hamisparnes min hatzedakah chai v'shoyel me'acherim oy moicher ksusoy shal kseifoy. Should borrow from others, or you should even sell the shirt off his back. V'noisein machzis hashekel shenemar ha'oshir lo yarbe v'hadal lo yamis. And the Rambam says, "Ve'einoi noisnoi b'pa'omim rabois." You don't give the half shekel in installments. Hayoy ma'at u'lemachar ma'at elo noisnoi kuloi bebas achas. So the Rambam was machadish two halachas over here. One is that the machzis hashekel is something that even an oni is mechuyevin, and he's moichek susoy in order to be mekayim the mitzvah, and that the machzis hashekel cannot be paid in installments; it has to be given in one shot. Now the Minchas Chinuch in mitzvah kuf hey comments that the Kesef Mishnah did not show where what the Rambam sources for these two chidushim. One, that there's a din of oni moichek susoy in order to be mekayim the mitzvah of machzis hashekel, and the other that the machzis hashekel has to be paid in one shot. So I want to say like this. The Ramban in Chumash in this week's parsha writes, "V'tam ha'oshir lo yarbe v'hadal lo yamit." What's the meaning of the pasuk that the wealthy shall not increase and the poor should not decrease, and they should all give a machzis hashekel? Zokti sheyaviu hashkolim b'hashvoya ha-nizkeres. They should all give the even amount of machzis hashekel. V'hanirem en hakosuv hazeh. Says the Ramban, it would seem from this pasuk, she'im hevi hadal b'shikloi pochois mi machzis hashekel oiver belav zeh. Shehakosuv hazeh meniyah. Says the Ramban, it seems to me that this is a prohibition. It's a lav. Hadal lo yamit is a lav. If he brought less, he's over a lav. And the Ramban says like this: She'im noimar b'ha'oshir lo yarbe she'yiyeh shlilus. Ha'oshir lo yarbe does not have to be understood as a prohibition, as a lav. It could be understood as a shlilus. Not sure how we should say it in English. It's like a negation, meaning to say, shebekach dailoi. Maybe when the pasuk is saying "Oshir lo yarbe," it's not a prohibition. It's just saying that lo yarbe, he doesn't need to. But lo nuchal lefarish came b'vahadal lo yamitz. You can't say that hadal lo yamitz means that he doesn't need to, because hadal lo yamitz. Why would I think? It must be that just like Adal lo yamit is a prohibition, so also ha'oshir lo yarbe is a prohibition. Im shokil ha'oshir ha'yechidi yoise v'shokal hadal pochos avar belav. So now the Ramban adds v'shema masha hoyu tormin bekupois al ha'ovud. The Gemara in Ksubis Daf Kufches brings a brayse that they used to, the Hegdish used to donate for those that haven't yet brought their machzis hashekel, and al ha'ovud, if it got lost, v'al ha'osid ligvois, and maybe this corrects this lav. Why? Ki adal hamamit b'moisor osid ligvoisu. The dal who brought less, but Bezdin took care of that because they were mezakeh to all those that didn't bring the full machzis hashekel, a machzis hashekel. Umin ha'osher hamarbe lo yitzrumu hagaboim b'yisorin. The gaboim didn't take from anybody more than a machzis hashekel. V'lo hoyu mezakin b'moisoros. So maybe practically nobody was ever over this lav because Bezdin found a way to make sure that this lav nobody's ever over on. And now the Ramban says, "V'ra'isi lebal ha'halachos u'lechol hamoinim hamitzvos shelo hizkiru halav hazeh." The Ramban wonders why is it that the moinim hamitzvos didn't count this lav of ha'osher lo yarbe v'hadal lo yamid. So in the Minchas Chinuch, he writes like this: "U'b'Ramban al Torah hiksho al moinei hamitzvos shelo monu ze belavin ayin sham hatirutz." It sounds from the Minchas Chinuch that he understood that this shtickle that the Ramban says that Bezdin found a way to make sure that nobody transgresses this prohibition. That's an answer that the Ramban is offering for why the Moinei HaMitzvahs didn't count these lavim. I mean, this is totally not understandable because even if Bezdin found a way that nobody will practically ever be over this lav, it's not a reason that it shouldn't be counted in the minyan alavim. So it's a pella that the Minchas Chinuch says that the Ramban gave a teretz to his question why it's not being counted by the Moinei HaMitzvahs. Now, the ikatayin of the Ramban that hadal lo yamit could not be understood in the sense of shlila, meaning that it's coming to tell me that with less than a machzis hashekel he can't be yoitze, but it's not telling me a prohibition, because we know that already. The fact that he can't bring less, we already know from the fact that it says zegitnu machzis hashekel b'shekel hakodesh. How would I think that a dal that will decrease the amount will be yoitze the mitzvah? And from this, he was machriach that the same holds true legabe ha'oshir lo yarbe, that it's also, even though we could have understood it as a shlila, it's also a meniyah. It's also a lav. The truth is, I don't really understand why he needs to tell me how we must learn the Oshir Lo Yarbe based on how we must learn the Hadal Lo Yamid. The Oshir Lo Yarbe, l'chorah, we also couldn't learn as a shlila, that the Torah is telling me that he doesn't need to bring more. It says, Zeh kol oiv al apkudim machzis hashekel. How would I think that the usher needs to bring more, that the Torah is telling me that he doesn't need to bring more? I mean, so just like dal lo yamit, we have to understand as a prohibition. L'chorah, so also ha'asher lo yarbe, we have to understand as a prohibition, because why would the Torah need to tell me that he doesn't need to give more if the Torah said that the mitzvah is to bring a machzis hashekel? Al kol panim b'shitas Rambam, it would seem that the pasuk of Hadal Lo Yamit is teaching me Dinei HaMitzvah. It's not a prohibition. It's teaching me Dinei HaMitzvah. Exactly what the Ramban didn't want to hold. The Rambam seems to hold that. Why? What it's teaching me two halachas. Hadal Lo Yamit, it's teaching me two halachas. One, that even a Ani HaMisparnis Min HaTzdokah is chayiv, and he's shoyel me'acherim oy moichek susay. Well, this is an exception to the rule, because in other mitzvahs, even a mitzvah iveres, we say that he doesn't have to spend more than a chaimish ben a chosov. Yes, the Ramah brings in Tafresh Nun Vav in Orachaim. There's a long bir halacha about it. So this pasuk is teaching me that the mitzvah of machzis hashekel is an exception to the general rule. In machzis hashekel, hadal lo yamit. This is where the Rambam got it from, that he's mechuyev, everybody's mechuyev, even if it requires moichik susa, even if he has no money at all. And another thing that we learn from here is the Torah doesn't just say that the dal should not give. The Torah says the dal should not give less. Lo yamit. And from the lo yamit, we learn that even if you're giving the entire machzis shekel, but if you're giving it not at once, you're over on you're not mekayim the mitzvah because you did it in an oifen of yam it, and that is the source of the Rambam that einoi noisnoi bepa'amim rabbis. Since the Torah told me the chiyuv of the dal in a lashon of lo yamit, it includes also that even if he's going to end up giving the whole machzis shekel, if he doesn't give it at once, he wasn't mekayim the mitzvah. But lefize, both things that we learn from hadal lo yamit are dinei hamitzvah, are shlilus. It's negating the havamina that an oni doesn't have to give it. It's negating the havamina that you can give it in installments. And it's telling me that the din of the mitzvah is that everyone has to give, and everyone has to give at once the machzis hashekel. So that explains why the Mainei HaMitzvahs are not counting this as a lav, because it's not a lav, it's Dinei HaMitzvah. And the same holds true, I say, about Ha'oshel Lo Yarbe. Ha'oshel Lo Yarbe, you don't have to say like the Ramban that the pasuk could have been saying that he doesn't need to give more, because why would we think that? But the Torah is telling me that an Osher that gives more than a Machzis HaShekel, the more that he gives is not Kodesh. Because the Machzis HaShekel is only a Machzis. It's like the Mishnah says in Shekalim that Turim Shekshoklu, that people that are part of Machzis HaShekel, that the Noshim that give a shekel, it's not Kodesh. So Huadin, the Osher Lo Yarbe, more than a Machzis HaShekel, doesn't become part of the mitzvah. It's again Dinei HaMitzvah. But what's interesting in the Rambam is that l'chora we see that the mitzvah of Machzis HaShekel is a mitzvah's nesina, that the person has a mitzvah of giving. It's not a choiv momoin to be a partner in the karbonos tzibur. Because if we would say that the chiyuv of Machzis HaShekel is that everybody has to be a shutef in the karbonos tzibur, so it couldn't be that there's a halacha that you have to give it in one shot. What's the difference? How many shots? I mean, I have to have a shear of participation in the karbonos tzibur of Machzis HaShekel. Who cares how I give that Machzis? So if there's a halacha to give it b'basachas, we see that it's a mitzvah of nesina. The emes in the first parak in Shekalim, it says Hashoikel al yedei oni va'al yedei shcheinoi va'al yedei ben iroi potter. It says that I can give a shekel for somebody else. That from that it would seem that it's just a choiv moment to be mishtatzv in the karbonos tzibur, and therefore somebody else could pay it for me. If it's a mitzvah's nesina that's ramyek akar kafta the gavre, it needs to be explained how that can be. There's a whole tshuva from the Nesivos in the Sefer Chem de Shloime Yoredei Siman Lamed Beis that he says that the only way to understand the shoikel, that somebody could be shoikel for somebody else, is to understand that the mitzvah is to be a partner in karbonos tzibur, and it's supposed to choiv moment. But according to the Shittas Rambam, that I'm saying it's clear that it's a mitzvah's nesina. You have to give him basachas. So, and it's not in order to obtain a chelik in the karbonos tzibur. It needs to be understood how somebody can give for somebody else. In the Ramban, it's be'emes mefurish that he doesn't hold like the Rambam that you have to give at once, because the Ramban says that Shema Masha Hoyu Tormin Al Ha'osid Ligvois Hoyu Mesakin Halav Da Da Lo Yamit. He says that maybe Chazal, maybe the Bezdin of Hegdish, figured out a way to make sure that nobody's over on the prohibition of Hadal Lo Yamid, because they were mezakeh for others. The Moiser. No, according to the Rambam, even if I myself would bring the rest of my Machzis HaShekel later, it wouldn't correct the lav, because the lav is, if I gave it becoming a sinus. So if I gave less than a Machzis HaShekel and Bezdin completed the schum, it's not going to save me from the lav. So it's obvious that the Ramban doesn't hold of such a thing, that it has to be in a sina b'basachas. And it could be that the Ramban Taka holds that the mitzvah of Machzis HaShekel is to have a half shekel worth shutfis in the Karbonis Tzibur. And Memela, there's no mokum to say that you have to have an Esina bebas achas. So I want to say that this is really dependent on how you read the pasuk that says by Machzis HaShekel lechaper al nafshoy seichem. You know, it says ha'osher lo yarbe. Yeah, it says ha'osher lo yarbe v'hadal lo yamit mimachzis HaShekel loses es trumas Hashem lechaper al nafshoy seichem. So what's this lechaper al nafshoy seichem? Rashi says lechaper al nafshoy seichem sheloi tinogfu al yedei haminyan. L'chaper al nafshoy seichem means that if you'll be counted through a machzis HaShekel, so you won't have a plague al yedei ha-minyan. Davar acher, zogt Rashi, l'chaper al nafshoy seichem. L'fi sheromaz lohem kan gimel trumas. Shenichtav kan trumas Hashem gimel po'omen. Achas trumas ha'adonim. Shemano'on k'she'eschilu b'nidvas ha'mishkin. V'ashenis af hi al yedei minyan. Shemona mishokem ha'mishkin. V'hein, liknois behem karbonis tzibur shel kol shana v'shana v'hushvu b'aniyim v'ashirim val oisa truma nema lechaper al nafshei seichem sha'karbonis lekaporein boim v'ashlishis etc. The Ramban Taka learns like the second pshat in Rashi. So lefizeh the lechaper al nafshei seichem is not through the giving of the shekel. According to the first pshat, the lechaper al nafshei seichem is that when you're going to be counted, you need a special kapara in order that there shouldn't be a negative. And therefore, you should give a machzah shekel. And that's going to be the lechaper al nafshei seichem. According to the second shot, the lechaper al nafshei seichem is, the karbonis sibur is lechaper al nafshei seichem, and by giving the machzah shekel, you're a partner in the karbonis sibur, and mamela, you'll be zeicher to lechaper al nafshei seichem. Now, the Rambam in Hilchos Shekalim, so the Bemis, according to the first shot, the mitzvah is just to give. It doesn't even say about what you should give it for. According to the second shot, the lechaper al nafshei seichem tells me the destination. I mean, where this money is going to. Whereas according to the first shot, the lechaper al nafshei seichem is a statement about the giving, and it doesn't say what is being given for. It doesn't say what is being given for. It's just saying that you have to give. The Rambam included Hilchos Shekalim in the Sefer Hazmanim. I mean, the Shekalim should be included in the Sefer Avodah or the Sefer Karbonis, because through the Shekalim, every individual is mekayim his chiyuv to be a partner in the Karbonos Sibur. So why is it in Sefer Zmanim? Yeah? The Shekalim isn't Seder Moyed. But in the Yad HaChazaka, it's even more emphasized. In the Sefer HaMitzvahs, even, he brings it together with the other mitzvahs of Moyadim. In the Sefer HaMitzvahs, mitzvahs Hasei Kuf Ayin Aleph, the Rambam says, B'zeh HaLoshen, He shetzivonu loseis machzis HaShekel b'chol shona. V'hu amora yizborech v'nosnu goyme. V'hu mevur shemitzvah zu ein hanoshim chayovo yizbo. B'chule. Ukvar hisbaru mishpetei mitzvah zu b'mesech Shekalim. V'sham hisbaer, if you look in Mesech Shekalim, you'll see שהמיtzvah hazois eino noyeges elo b'fnei habayis. So you see, the Rambam B'chal didn't mention what the machzah shekel is going for. This is a mitzvah to give a machzah shekel. And so also in the Remazei HaMitzvahs in the beginning of the Sefer Hayad, it says mitzvah say achas v'hi litin kolish machzah shekel b'chol shana. In Halacha Aleph in Hilchos Shekalim, he says mitzvah the same in HaTorah. Litin kolish mi Yisrael machzah shekel b'chol shana v'shana. Doesn't say what it's for. Only in Perek Beis we find out that the Nesina goes to the Trumas HaLishka, and in the beginning of Perek Dalid, the Rambam says, Trumas HaLishka ma ye'oseh bo. What do you do with the Trumas HaLishka? And the Rambam says, Loikchem imena tmidim shel kol yoim v'amusafin, etc. So that's like an afterthought. I mean, the mitzvah is Loseis Machzis HaShekel b'chol shana v'shana. And we don't even know where it goes to. Then we find out in the next Perek that it's collected by this in the Trumas HaLishka. And then in Reish Perek Dalid, the Rambam says that what do you do with the money that's collected in the Trumas HaLishka? You bring Karbonos Sibur. The Rambam in Hilchos Shekalim, Perek Aleph Halacha Ches says, Hashkolim einon noyagim ela b'fnei abayis. And this is coming from the Mishnah in Shekalim, Perek Ches, Mishnah Ches. Hashkolim v'habikurim einam noyagim ela b'fnei abayis. L'chayre, if the mitzvah of Shekalim is to have a chelik in the Karbonos Sibur, it's b'chlal not shayach b'zman hazeh. There are no Karbonos Sibur. Why would we need even to say that's not like b'zman hazeh? If you look in the Smag, Mitzvah Hasei Memhei, he says, Shenemar v'lakachta es kesef hakipurim v'nasata oisoy al avoidus oil moed, bizman she'avoidus oil moed noiheges, ubizman she'beis hamikdash kaim noisem hashkolim. So you see that we need a special yalfusa to teach us that you only give shkolim bizman she'beis hamikdash kaim ubizman she'avoidus oil moed noiheges. I mean, what do you need a yalfusa? I mean, it's obvious. If the whole mitzvah is to be a partner in the Karbonos Sibur, if there's no Karbonos Sibur, there's nothing to be a partner in. So from here, it really seems that the nesina of the machzah shekel is b'chlal not shaykh to Karbonos Sibur. Well, says it's Trumas Hashem l'chaper al nafshei seichem. In other words, like the first shot in Rashi, the l'chaper al nafshei seichem is with the nesina. And therefore, be'etzim, it would be shaykh to have a nesina of machzah shekel b'zman hazeh also. And we, since it says, well, kachtas kesef v'kipurim meis b'nei Yisrael v'nasat Yisrael v'nismoed, oil moed, and which is mirrored in the Lashon Rambam, Trumas Halishka, Maya Osabo. So we have Yalfusa that when there's no avodas oil moed, we don't have this mitzvah. Now, the emes in Rashi and the other Rishonim, it's before that in this parsha, the Torah includes all the three trumos. Why did the Torah include all three trumos together? If the Yesod HaMachayiv of Machzah Shekel is not Hishtatfus in the Karbonos Sibur, but it's in the Nesina itself, it's easier to understand that it says over here three trumas of Kaif Nefesh, because what happens with the money, that's already a second thing. That's not the Ikar Mitzvah. Therefore, in terms of the Ikar Mitzvah, all three trumas are under one umbrella. Now, you know, in Megillah Daf Chav Tes, we have a machloikis of Rav and Shmuel. What do you lane Parsha Shkolim? Rav says that you lane Tzaves B'nei Yisrael v'amarta aleim es karboni lachmi. Shmuel says that you read Parsha Kisisa like we do. Now it's the pashut that the mitzvah of the Shkolim says in Parsha Kisisa. In the Parsha of es karboni lachmi leisha, he doesn't say the mitzvah of Shkolim. So what's the machlokes? L'chayre would seem that this is the machlokes. If the mitzvah is the nesina, and it's an independent mitzvah of nesina, then you lane Parshas Kisisa. But if the mitzvah of Shkolim is to be a partner in the Karbonos Sibur, then you lane the Parsha of Karbonos Sibur. It's Avos B'nei Yisrael as Karboni Lachmi L'Ishai. Now, you know, in Bava Basra Daf Tes Amud Aleph, we have a Gemara in Bava Basra Daf Tes Amud Aleph. Omar Ravasi, La'olam al Yimna Odom Atzmoi, Miloses Shlishis HaShekel B'Shona. Now we're talking over here about giving tzedakah. A person should not hold back from giving at least a shlishis hashekel, a third of a shekel every year. Shenemar, because we have a pasuk in Nehemiah, v'hemadnu aleinu mitzvos, loseis aleinu shlishis hashekel b'shana la'avodas beis Elokeinu. Now that pasuk, the Ramban says in the beginning of this parsha, is talking about machzas hashekel for trumas halishka. Why does it say shlishis? The Ramban says that b'yemei Ezra hoisifu al hashekel, and therefore, the Shlishis HaShekel was Eseg Geira. So the Shlishis HaShekel of the Zman Ezra was the Machzas HaShekel of biblical times. And as I state in the Ritzvot, in Bava Basra, V'hu keneged chatzi HaShekel shoyu chayovim l'trumas halishka, elo she'yisifu al hamidus. But so kumtois that Rav Asi is saying that a person should not withhold from giving tzedakah a Machzas HaShekel a year. And he's bringing that pasuk, which is talking about the Machzas HaShekel that was given to the Beis HaMikdash, to the Trumas Halishka. So what's the shaykhis? He's talking about tzedakah. The pasuk is talking about Trumas Halishka, about the Machzas HaShekel of our parsha. So, according to what we're saying, that the mitzvah of Machzas HaShekel is really not about participating in the Karbonos Sibur. The ikar is the mitzvah of the Nesina in itself. The Nesina is Olachaper al Nafshei Seichem. So true that B'zman Hazeh we don't have this mitzvah because we have a Yalfusa from V'nasata Oisay al Avodas Oyel Moed that B'zman She'en Beis HaMikdash, the mitzvah of Machzas HaShekel is not Kayim. Nevertheless, Chazal made an asmachta on this pasuk that we should nevertheless give. But it's because be'etzim, this mitzvah is not a mitzvah of giving for karbonis. And it says, the Gemara says over there, Omer Rebbe Elazar, Bizman she beis hamikdash kayom, Adam shoikel shiklo, yumiskapeloi, achshav she'en beis hamikdash kayim, im oisim tzedakah mutiv. The Rambam in Hilchas Matnas Ani in Perek Zayin says, Ula oilam al yimna atzmai mishlishis hashekel b'shona. V'chol hanoisein, Pachais mize loy kiyei mitzvah. Va'afilo oni hamispanis min hatzedakah chayiv litin tzedakah la'achir. So we see that just like in the mitzvah d'oraisa of machzis hashekel, we learn from Adalo Yamit that even an oni is chayiv. So also we learn for the shlishis hashekel b'chol shana b'zman hazeh. And so it says mafurish in the sheiltas in Parashas Kisisa sheilta samach dalid that oni has to give tzedakah. He brings the pasuk of V'hadal lo yamit. From all this, it seems like we see in the Rambam that the mitzvah of machzis hashekel b'yisoida is a mitzvah of nesina l'chap al nafshei seichem. Then there's another halacha, ma yei oseh bo. What do you do with the money? As it says, well, kach tes kesef v'kipurim meis b'nei Yisrael v'nasata oiseh alavei Yisrael moed. And from this pasuk we take a learn that b'zman hazeh we don't have the mitzvah. But nevertheless, Chazal would koiveya, according to this, the shear of the mitzvah tzedakah b'chol shana as kesef kippurim l'chap al nafshei seichem. So you know there's a sefer Orchois Chaim written by the Rosh, and over there it's organized according to the days of the week. And in Yom Revi he says tzedek tzedek tirdoif ki roidev tzedakah v'chesed yimtza Chaim tzedakah v'chovod. Va'al yachsir mi machzis hashekel b'chol shona b'pam achas. You shouldn't ever go through the year without giving in one shot a machzis hashekel. So you see that even in this nesina that the Gemara is talking about in Bava Basra, which is like a kein machzis hashekel b'zman hazeh, it's not really. He says that you should do it b'pam achas. The Shach in Yeridei Sibereish Memtzesif Kotan Dalet says that for the kiyum of the Shlishis Hashekel B'Shona, which is really Machzis Hashekel, Nohagu Ba'arotzos Elu Shagaba Tzedakah Hoylech Bebeis HaKnesses Sheni v'Chamishi Ligvois Mois Tzedakah Mikol Echad Ve'echad. He goes around with a pushke. Ba'afila Noisen Me'apachas Sheb'Madbeis. Even if a person gives a tiny coin, Hu Noisen Yoisim Shlishis Hashekel B'Shona U'Minig Nochen. But l'chayre, according to what it says in the Rosh, you have to do it by basachas. So you're not mekayim this din if you give a dime a day. The emes the Shach brings from the Orchis Chaim liyoyim HaShabbos, which is meyuchis to the Baal Tosfos Yom Tov. The Rosh himself didn't write for Shabbos, and over there it says litein b'soif hashona zoh v'chetzi, and the Shach writes that that's a midas chassidus. But it's a pella that he saw the Yom HaShabbos and he didn't see the Yom HaRavi, because in the Yom HaRavi, the Rosh himself writes in the Ikar Din that you should not va'al yachsim and machzis hashekel b'chol shona b'pam achas. So in any case, I think that the important message is that even in the machzis hashekel shebemigdash and the shlishis hashekel shebezman hazeh, it's not about where the money is going, it's where it's coming from. In other words, the Gemara says in Bava Basra Daf Yud, Elokeichem oyev aniyim. Why is he einay mefarnesam? Yeah. So and the answer is that's because he wants to give us the opportunity to give. In other words, the giving is not in order to fill the need, not the need of the karbonis, not the need of the oni. The giving is in order that we should become givers, and that's the lechaper al nafshei seichem. And memela, the ikir is, I mean, that we become givers and we share, and that's the ikir lechaper al nafshei seichem. Having said that, Rabbi Say, a guten Shabbos.